Hi guys and welcome back to our channel. We've taken a break but now we're back to begin our Ghost Weapon review series. So without further introduction, let's get into the first weapon, the SC-2010. The SC-2010 is the first of the assault rifles, at least in the list, as you can unlock the Honey Badger first depending on what you choose for your soldier.
As Chris said, you can unlock the SC-2010 for free, but if you choose another option and then you want the weapon, it will still set you back 6 squad points. This is a fairly low amount compared to some other assault rifles, so it won't hurt your money that much. The first thing you're going to want to know about the rifle is how much damage it does.
The damage on the SC-2010 is actually very low for an assault rifle, and really hurts the weapon in general combat. The close range damage to the rifle is 35, and the minimum damage is 20. These numbers are very low and more commonly associated with submachine guns, not assault rifles. However, the range on the damage is actually quite good, as you'll be doing 35 damage up to a range of 23 meters, then your damage will decrease linearly over 20 meters until, at 43 meters, you'll be dealing 20 damage. This means that the SC-2010 will be a 3-shot kill until that 23 meter drop off, decreasing to 4 shots from 26 to 36 meters, but it will take up to 5 any further than this.
The next thing you want to know is what the reload is like, and this is fairly average on the SC-2010. The normal reload when you still have bullets in the mag is 2.8 seconds. The full reload when the mag is completely empty is 3.3 seconds, as you have to take into account your soldier has to reset the bolt. The add time when the game clocks the bullets are actually in the gun regardless of animation is 1.7 seconds. At this time you can perform a reload cancel to have the gun ready again, but we found it more beneficial to simply run sleight of hand on this weapon. Next, the fire rate on the assault rifle is 750 rounds per minute, which is fairly average for the assault rifles.
The last thing we will discuss is the recoil, and by extent, the iron sights. The recoil on the SC-2010 is very low. You can pretty much full auto the gun at any range, and the rifle will barely move on you. Only at extreme ranges will you have to burst fire, and at this range you will struggle to kill anyway due to the low damage. The recoil profile is as follows: 40 up, 45 to the left, 45 to the right, and 20 downwards. Take this to mean that when the gun moves, it will generally move upwards, but only by a small amount as the numbers are very low. The center speed on the weapon, the speed at which the gun returns to middle of the screen after each shot, is actually quite low, coming in at 1400. However, with the low recoil profile, you don't really need to worry about this, and definitely don't need the foregrip. The irons on the rifle are the last thing to discuss. They are generally usable, but at mid to long range they can get a bit clustered, which means that a sight attachment is not a bad idea.
Speaking of the attachments, let's discuss them. We'll look at the sights first. Up first is the red dot sight, returning from many previous CoD games and retaining the same function, to clean up the irons with a precision sight to aid in easier target acquisition across all ranges of combat. In this game you can purchase a red dot for 3 squad points and it is among one of the cheapest attachments available. The sight is very useful and a worthy choice on the SC-2010, but it is not the best sight.
Next in the list, at 3 squad points, is the ACOG scope, which will replace the irons with a clear, long-range optic. This is not very useful on the rifle, as it isn't very good at range already, and this attachment amplifies the recoil, so we don't recommend you use the ACOG scope.
The holographic sight can be purchased for 4 squad points and functions exactly the same as the red dot, apart from it has a bit more zoom and a clunkier reticule. This isn't as good as the red dot, but is still a worthy choice on the SC-2010.
Up next is the VMR sight, purchasable for 5 squad points. This sight is a red dot sight with a twist. It also has a built-in longer range sight, which hits the same zoom as the ACOG. Whenever we use this sight, we always use the lower range part, but it can hold some use on the SC-2010, so is worth considering.
The penultimate attachment is a thermal hybrid scope at 5 squad points and is by far the best sight for the SC-2010. The thermal is excellent for picking people out in mid to long range, and then when someone jumps you up close you can switch to the backup holographic sight to deal with them. Pair this with the silencer and you have a very lethal stealth build.
The last sight is the tracker sight for 6 squad points, and while this is a great sight, it does not stand up to the power the thermal gives and the ease of use the red dot gives. The tracker sight highlights enemies with a yellow outline when you are aimed down the sight, for ease of target acquisition, and also has a backup use of the weapon's irons if the enemy is just too close. However, the sight is very clunky and obscures a lot of vision, so it's generally not excellent to use.
Now, let's move on to the barrel attachments. Up first is the flash suppressor at 2 squad points, the cheapest attachment. This attachment will reduce the muzzle flash of the weapon to make general aiming a bit easier. For the SC-2010 this really isn't that necessary as the weapon demands close to mid-range use where the flash suppressor isn't really needed.
The silencer is available for 3 squad points. and will hide your signature on the minimap when you fire the rifle. This attachment on its own is generally not advisable as the weapon already has low damage and a mediocre fire rate, but as mentioned, when paired with a thermal hybrid, it can be a lethal stealth build for the weapon.
Purchasable for 4 squad points is the muzzle brake, which will increase the range of the weapon, meaning you will score more consistent 3-hit kills out to a longer range. This attachment actually holds a lot of value for the rifle as the strength is one component the rifle sorely lacks, so boosting the 3-hit kill range is never a bad idea.
The underbarrel attachments are up next, and at 4 squad points you can purchase the foregrip, which adds a grip to the barrel of the weapon to aid in better shot accuracy. However, the weapon is already a very low recoil rifle, so the foregrip is not the best attachment for it, and can be considered a waste of a slot.
For 5 squad points you can buy the underbarrel shotgun, which will definitely increase the close range punch of the SC-2010, and will certainly help when you get into those point blank engagements. However, the attachment replaces your lethal equipment slot, meaning you can't carry any grenades into combat with you.
Also replacing your lethal equipment allowance is the last underbarrel attachment, the grenade launcher, purchasable for 5 squad points as well. Between the two, shotgun and grenade launcher is more all-purpose and therefore better, but we don't recommend either of them as the rifle has a need of other attachments, so there are no room for these.
The first weapon mod we will cover is the extended mags attachment, purchasable for 3 squad points. This will increase the mag size from 30 to 45 rounds, but with average fire rate and reload times this generally isn't useful on the rifle.
The next mod available for 3 squad points is the armor piercing mod, which will increase bullet penetration through walls, against vehicles and against juggernauts. This will not, I repeat not, increase the raw bullet damage. As the SC-2010 is an already low damage rifle, this mod is generally not the best and you should try something else.
Penultimate attachment to discuss is the semi-automatic weapon mod. Unlockable for 3 squad points, this will change the rifle from full auto to single shot, meaning one pull of the trigger fires 1 shot. As the rifle is predominantly close range rifle, then limiting your close range firepower is not the best idea. Please pick another attachment.
Finally, you can buy the burst fire modification for 4 squad points, which will change the fire type from full auto to 3-round burst, meaning each pull of the trigger fires 3 shots and 3 shots only. Again, as with the semi-automatic mod, this generally is not a good idea as the SC-2010 is best with full auto fire and getting as many bullets onto target as quickly as possible.
With the attachments done, there is nothing else we need to discuss. So here are the 2 best classes for the SC-2010 in our opinion. We will end the video with these, so thanks for watching guys and join us again shortly, where we'll be covering the first listed submachine gun, the Bison.